Hey, John, is it frowned upon to have one of these guys on this show, or are we?
It's frowned upon not to.
Okay, fair enough. All right, good deal. It's happy hour.
None of us are at work, so we're good.
Good.
I'm at work.
It's Miller, right? You're on the company, I think.
This is my work.
That's a great job to have at work.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
All right, I'll be right back.
Jeremy, Leah, what's going on?
Loving that together all day, but I had to run home to do this, and she's still out at the water park.
Nice.
I was supposed to get off at 3, and then the last people didn't show up, so I was like, well, off day. And then Jeremy calls me 10 minutes ago and says, you need to get on this podcast. And I'm like, what? I don't even know about this. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
So here I am.
That's I'm glad you're on it. I got to hear about this. So where exactly are you?
I'm at the shores of Asbury in Anderson, South Carolina. It is a inflatable water park on Hartwell Lake.
Nice.
And it is a lot of fun.
I was going to say, I bet the kids don't mind that at all.
Not at all. Not at all.
Playing right now.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
The 2 younger ones. The older ones at work.
So, John, we have about 1 minute before we go live on the radio, and we're live on Facebook right now. You guys can share this out there. Anybody listening in, please share this out. The more shares we get, the more likes we get.
Let me do that right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wait, if I go do that right now, am I messing you up?
Nope, go for it, man.
Okay, I'm gonna do it.
You can always sign back in if you lose.
Okay.
So it's all good that way. So we're going to be going live here on the radio shortly, like real soon. So hang in there with us. This is our 3rd show. So it's really exciting to have some really cool guests in the house. We're broadcasting all over the world tonight with KDW Radio. So hang in there 1 second. Boom, boom.
What's the link on Facebook?
If you go to Songwriters Souls,
okay,
that's the name of the show. We're going live on the radio. You're listening to WKDW Radio 97.5 and KDWRadio.com, broadcasting from the Bishop West Real Estate Mobile Tower right here in Northport, Florida. And we've got Songwriter Souls today. And I've got 3 very special guests in the house, one of which is a songwriter, and I'm going to start with him last. But I got 2 really cool organizations joining us today. Jeremy, I want you to introduce yourself, and then I want you to introduce your wife.
Okay, well, actually, I thought I was going to go last because I'm a songwriter also.
That's true. That is true.
No, so my name is Jeremy Duckett. I'm a facilitator for Johnny and Friends, and luckily I got to meet John through them. I also participate with Wild Ops. It's a logo behind me. And my wonderful wife, Leah, is with us. She also has another key part, if not just as important as mine, through Johnny and Friends. She handles the spouses.
And Leah, go ahead and introduce yourself. And obviously somebody was heckling you in the background.
Yes, that is my friend, Cheryl. And
no one here but her.
Oh. Yeah, I'm Leah Duckett. I'm married to my husband, Jeremy Duckett. And I also help assist with post-traumatic growth with the spouses and moral injury with Johnny and Friends. And I just love and support my husband.
Awesome. That's great. So Johnny and Friends. So as you're doing things with Johnny and Friends, tell us what exactly your focus is.
You want to go ahead, Leah?
Sure. Well, my focus, I guess it could be different. My focus is to mainly reach the people that are not reachable by the churches, so we can introduce a biblical principle of healing that can, because you got to have that real healing. And it starts with Jesus. And it's more of a come as you are mentality. We don't expect you to be perfect. We want everyone there and everyone to know about Jesus and how wonderful he is and how it has helped my husband and I stay married for 16 years because it has not been easy. We've been through the trials. We have almost been divorced. We've dealt with all kinds of traumas. And what's really helped us was the Johnny and Friends Warrior Getaway, and backing it up with the Bible and biblical principles. What about you, Jeremy?
So yeah, our main focus is the post-traumatic growth and moral injury, like she said, with a biblical background. But the key question is, how do you get there? Our target audience, believe it or not, is a group, and I think Leah just said it, but the church, your typical church, cannot reach this group. And we have a full program that my wife and I facilitate, but beforehand we bring in these great songwriters from somewhere in Nashville through CreatiVets, and we'll split into groups, the veterans will. And John, I remember when I met him for the first time, he come up and said, all right, what you guys thinking? And I think we told him 4 words and a song title. And then the next day he comes up with what y'all think about this for a chorus? It was like, yeah, man. And then, well, we got to work on the verses.
Yeah.
So but what it does is it breaks down that wall, breaks down that barrier, and lets you really see where you're at in life.
So I do a lot of talking on my other radio shows and my other podcast about how we support local stuff and veterans. It's a big thing for me. My dad was Navy, I was Air Force, and all these things. I served in peacetime, so I caught something that you said, reaching the guys with something different to pull them in. It explained why you have to do that.
So, when I say guys, there may be female veterans also.
Absolutely, 100%.
I want to make sure I say that. So I'm not going to name any of the organizations, but we've been a part of some, and all they want you to do is come join our career fair, or here, we'll take you out to eat, or here, we'll go send you to a concert. And if you need us, then you can reach out for us because we offer XYZ, and that's it. But this place pulls you in. The key component is it's not just you; it's your entire family for the Warrior Getaway. So our kids are there, the spouses are there. We're all learning. We're all having a good time. Plus, we're getting to go fish or zip line or something, and it's like a vacation. Yeah, that's it.
So when you're reaching the veterans that are out there, and listen, I've met them. I met veterans at all levels at this point, whether it be non-injured but mentally injured from wartime. You've got a lot of you've got a lot of wounded warriors that may not show wounds.
Right.
And we talk about that often. And there's like 22 veterans a day that commit suicide, and the importance of networks of organizations like yours. What does that mean to the veterans that are out there when you are connected to them and they feel like they have an extension of their family?
Well, I can really speak on it since I had been through it the past two and a half weeks. My first 3 Johnny and Friends, I went as a participant for my family and I to receive growth. My last one, I got approached by the facilitator and said, hey, you might be good at doing this. So actually the one I attended with Mr. Miller here was my first one I've ever facilitated. And it was all younger guys around my age, all combat veterans. And there were 2 female veterans. Am I right on that, Leah? Yeah, 2 female veterans.
Yeah. That's right.
Then the next one I went to, it was all primarily, there were a couple families, but it was mostly men that was older than me, so Vietnam era time frame. So that was a big journey how to jump into that. But I think the key thing is when we start talking about the post-traumatic growth, I think a lot of our veterans don't like to reach out or don't want to seek out the help because we have a different kind of, when we come home, it's different. So after my first deployment is when they first came out with the term PTSD. And I think I told John this story. Now everybody and their brother has it.
Right.
I'm not going to expose anything or anybody, but a lady told me she had it for having to pull the car over on the side of the road and give her dad CPR. That's not what I got.
Right.
I got something totally different. So you can send a veteran to a civilian group or a function that talks about it, and they're more than likely not going to be able to relate.
And I wish they would come out with different levels. Veterans are veterans and maybe some first responders in New York, different areas like that went through a major tragedy like 9/11. That's war. That's kind of a wartime scenario that happened on our own soil, and I don't want to diminish the soldiers out there, because that level that we're talking about, you've got that, and you've also got the fact that they've adapted their life overseas a lot of times. So coming back here, and I tell this story to people because, and it's minor compared to what you guys are going through sometimes. We dealt with the hurricane down here, and I went to the doctors up in Sarasota, and I left my war zone, and it was too quiet for me. And I literally lost my crap in the waiting room. And the lady said, "What's wrong?" And I said, "You are acting like there's nothing wrong. And I just left chaos."
Yeah.
Okay. So times 100 for a lot of the soldiers that are coming back. And if I felt like that, I'm getting chills just thinking about how some of these guys feel, maybe even you. So
I'm not going to say I know what you're talking about, but I can see. That's one thing I like to point out. I never tell a veteran, "No, I know exactly what you're talking about," because I've never been in their shoes. But I could potentially see where living in a hurricane-prone area would be like being in a war zone. That's why I don't live in Florida.
That's awesome.
But on the other hand, another thing that I think makes it really possible, and I don't know if John was there for it, the first thing I tell everybody when we get the whole group in, volunteers and all, I like to point out the fact that I'm the perfect model of a soldier, veteran, and a husband. My wife is perfect in every single way. We have a perfect marriage. We have perfect kids. The song we wrote is perfect. It's going to be number one. But the truth of the matter is, I'm still in counseling. We're in marriage counseling. We have issues. We're not perfect. So I think that's one of the key, most important things is, I'm up there as a facilitator. I'm not there to preach, teach, or well, I'm there to teach. I'm not there to preach or fix. My goal is to give the veterans, the songwriters, and even the volunteers that we have just something that they can take back with them to put in the toolkit to be able to use in the future.
And I promised Leah that I wouldn't keep her on here forever because she is working. So give the information out that people can either donate to or at least look you up and find out what you're all about and give that information out. And I know you're going to share it later on your website and stuff, but go ahead and do that.
Okay. What has helped us, and the organization that I would definitely promote would be Johnny and Friends Warrior Getaway. If you are a warrior, if you're a military spouse, or if you're a military member listening to this, please go sign yourself up. There's grants that cover the cost for you to go. Your whole family can go. They have activities for the children, the spouses, and the spouses. We don't get to talk about our problems a lot because we're carrying that burden. Like, we've got a broken man or a broken spouse at home that we've got to not put our problems on. So we're expected to carry it all. And it's okay to not have an easy life. Like Jeremy said, we're not perfect. We're in counseling. We have to work daily. And also the CreatiVets, oh my goodness, I feel like in the spouses group, I'm going to say personally for me, we go in there fussing and we're just like, oh man, sometimes it's so hard. I can't talk to my husband, or he's angry, or he has PTSD. He has these blow ups, and they turn this pain into something so beautiful. So CreatiVets is wonderful. How we work with Tommy, how they just turn it into something so beautiful. And you know that those are your words in that song, but they come out so pretty and so beautiful. And to see your spouse say, they hear you without you fussing. They hear you in a light where you're supportive to them. And so Johnny and Friends, absolutely, Warrior Getaway is my one. And
Awesome.
CreatiVets.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you for being part of the show, and I want to thank Jeremy for pulling you in at the last second, because anything that we can help out there by getting your word out, I feel blessed to be part of that. And I'm so proud of what you guys are doing, and I wish you guys extreme success out there.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having us on here. And yeah, if anyone, my husband will give out my contact information, his contact information. If there's anyone struggling, like we love you, we want to help. So just reach out. It's hard. That's when you absolutely don't want to talk to anyone. But sometimes you just need someone to sit there and do nothing with, and it's okay.
Yep. That was probably the perfect statement, because a lot of times just sitting and talking or sitting and doing nothing is a good thing.
Yes.
So,
all right, thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm going to slide down to John real quick, because
See you again, Leah. Tell the kids say hello.
All right, I will. Thank you so much. Bye, y'all.
bye. So I've got John Allen Miller in the house, and you did something really cool over the Memorial Day weekend. I kind of want to draw that into this, because there's a huge connection there for you, isn't there?
It's amazing. I am so honored and blessed to be a part of CreatiVets, and to be they call us when they show up. Hey, the CreatiVets are here. Funny thing, Jeremy, I don't think I mentioned this to you, but it was just a couple weeks ago, and I had participated in a CreatiVets trip before, and to kind of backtrack a little bit, as Jeremy mentioned, CreatiVets are a group of songwriters here in Nashville, and we go on these trips where we team up with veterans, and we sit down in a room very similar in many ways to what we do here in Nashville when we have our co-writing appointments. And we have some amazing conversations with veterans like Jeremy, and we're able to work with them in really, just talking about their story, talking about what's on their mind, talk about, things that they've experienced. Whether, we talked about all sorts of stuff, happy stuff, rough stuff. We went round and round, and really at the end of the day, we take those conversations and help them turn it into a song. And like you said earlier, John, I can't at all, relate personally my experiences. But one thing I will say is, we all have experiences, and I know talking about them, me personally, I've had some stuff, the last few years that I keep bottled up inside. And when you do talk about it, it's just like, whoa, man, that feels a lot better. And I hope, I think that that's what must be going on in that room. It must just feel good to talk about things, and then we put it to music, and along the way, develop friendships. I kind of felt like, Jeremy and I were quick friends, right away, just because we both kind of, I think Jeremy and I have similar personalities.
Maybe.
Maybe. We're both pretty outgoing dudes that, so we immediately just started chatting, and he did such a great job of making everybody in the room feel comfortable. It's just a wonderful thing. But what I was going to say is, I don't think I told you this, Jeremy, so I'll share it on the air. I got that call to go on the CreatiVets trip maybe a week before the trip. And so like I said, this was my second one, and I was supposed to go to a wedding in Florida. Now, albeit I was supposed to crash, it was an approved crash of the wedding. So I was not formally invited to the wedding. It was an approved crash of the wedding.
Okay.
Yes, it was approved, an approved crash. But when I got the call from CreatiVets, I was like, man, I'm all in. And sorry, buddy, if you wanted me to be there, you would have had me on the real list.
Yeah.
And so I just couldn't turn that down, because for me, it's an honor, and I'm just so proud to have the opportunity to do that. And it's a wonderful time. I mean, we end up having a blast. You make friends that you keep in touch with, and it's great to see you again, Jeremy. And
Yeah, same here.
well, John.
I'm glad you missed the wedding.
Yeah, man, it was great.
Yeah, you've got a really special connection going right now. I can tell. Jeremy, what does that mean to you to be able to have a weekend like you did, and what did you see happen within the whole group?
Okay, so I'll answer it in two separate ways. One, my first three I went to was a complete growing experience. So the first Johnny and Friends event I went to, I'm going to tell you exactly what I told my wife. She said, I signed us up for something. And I was like, oh, what'd you sign us up for now? Another veteran thing? She said, well, yeah, but this one's different. And she wouldn't tell me what we were going to do. Well, I got it out of her. And I said, so you mean we got to go up here and listen to these stupid classes, and they're going to make me write a stupid song? I don't even know how to write a song. And this is going to be the dumbest thing I've ever done in my life. And so I got up there and I was like, hey, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. And actually, it got a lot from it. I got introduced to the term post-traumatic growth, what it was about, moral injury, and they was able to squeeze a song out of me. So that was wonderful. And now that I know how it works, I attended two more as a guest. But the most thing what I like seeing the most about it, just as John said, so me and John developed a relationship. He's not a veteran. Am I correct on that, John?
Not a veteran, no.
Okay, but we can still relate on similar grounds. And so, like I said earlier, I don't know what it's like to be in Mr. Rollins' shoes. I'll never know. I'll never know what it's like to be in Mr. Miller's shoes. And along with our other veterans that come in with their spouses, I give the disclaimer right away how perfect I am, but I'm still in counseling. So we're all a work in progress. We all have to go to the doctor at some point. But to bring everyone in from different backgrounds with similar lifestyles, and they bond, make a friendship that they can take with them. Like, I'm pretty sure if I was to walk down through Nashville and I don't talk to John for 3 years and I see him, hey man, you remember me? He'll have to buy me a drink.
Yeah, 100%.
It would be like that.
And what's really cool is you kind of went from 0 to 110 with three songwriting events, right?
Yeah.
So I went from wanting to go to the songwriters events to talking about doing a podcast to doing a podcast. And also, and John doesn't know this yet, but he will now, started my guitar lessons. So
Hey.
I'm actually learning how to play the guitar. And out of this whole thing, what's kind of cool is the creation of success. And I'm going to ask you this, Jeremy, because I just kind of went through it myself when I played my first 9 chords in a half-hour class, and my instructor looked at me and said, let's count these up because you've never done that before. And I'm like, because I'm at the chord learning part of this whole process. But what does it do for you on the mental side of things when you're working a song or singing the song that you sung, or being at the event where you're learning now how to be constructive about that? What does that do on the mental side for you?
It's a big relief. And the good thing about the songwriting portion of it is, and John may cover this later. Sorry if I step on you, John. But there's a certain section in the song that it can say one thing. And so when I hear it, I know what it means, but everybody else may not know what it means. But for instance, like when I first met John, we got to talking, we kind of was bumping heads because he's a saltwater guy and I'm a freshwater guy when it comes to fishing. But if you hear our song, I could be wetting a line with a coast so clear. I don't have coast on my lake, but it's beautiful because you can see where it all. So it's kind of an inside thing on our song. I think makes it even unique because I want to be a deep sea guy, but I just live too far away. I'm afraid of hurricanes. So I'm relating to all y'all right now.
Listen, most of us relating to all y'all right now. Listen, most of us down here, we just started our hurricane season, so we're already eyeballing out there, going, okay, what are we going to do? And we actually had our first named storm, so those are the types of things that we look for down here. You don't do that so much on the lakes up there, do you?
No.
No, so it's all good. It's all good. I'm going to get to John Allen here real quick because, we've known each other for several years now. And we've been to different events together, the backyard event down in St. James City with Parker and Liz. There's just a real tight knit community with the songwriter industry, isn't there?
There definitely is, and it's great. I mean, I remember the first time I met you, it was down in the Keys at the Key West Songwriters Festival, and we're bouncing around. That's one of the best weeks. The whole Nashville songwriting community. I mean, really, just about everybody's down there, and we're all running around playing all these shows, and you're literally just. I mean, you're playing a show, then you're, and having a great time while you're playing that show. Just saying. And then you're hopping on a bicycle with your guitar on your back and riding down the street, and then you play another show. And I mean, it's just a great time, and get to meet awesome people like John, and you develop this crew. I mean, there's all these people that I've met from the Keys, from all these trips that I've done down there. And so it's the songwriter community is amazing, but then the community of folks that go to those events are an amazing community as well. So it kind of makes one just really cool community. And it's been awesome to be a part of it over the years. Awesome to go down there to home, Florida is home for me. And so to go down there and, create these memories that I would have never have thought I've had, I had many memories that I barely remember from the Keys prior to that.
And there's one really cool thing that we can all, I think, relate to, is that service time for me. I still think about my service time. I still think about all the people I served with, but like-minded people focused on a mission, people focused on a goal, helping each other out, having each other's backs. Doesn't matter what color you are. Your brothers and your sisters are your brothers and your sisters at that point. It's sort of the same thing. I hate to say it, but it's sort of the same thing when you go to the songwriters events, when you're a fan on the songwriters event side. And I think that's kind of what kind of drew me in to the aspect of the songwriters event, because there's just a ton of love for music, from camaraderie. And it's very similar to serving time in the service, and you need that extended family sometimes to get yourself through on those rough days. And I know Jeremy's shaking his head, so he knows what I'm talking about. But it's really cool how the networks all form. And then the songwriting is not wartime, but it kind of is, because USO's out there and doing their thing and trying to bring family back to you guys that serve. And it's weird how music centers a lot of minds and relationships. And the guitar learning on my side of it has definitely brought a whole different perspective when I go watch music now. This year, I spent my time watching the guitar more than I have ever. And it's because I want to see my fat fingers do what some of these guitars do. I handed mine off the other day. I said, just make sure mine works, because obviously it's not working for me. But, somebody gets talent involved on a guitar. It's sort of like the combination with Jeremy and John, right? Jeremy, when John steps in and helps you get to another level with a song.
Oh yeah.
And John, what's one of your favorite songs that you're going to pick to play tonight? And I'm going to start us out with a song now where about 29 minutes into the broadcast. So
Nice. Oh man. I'll play one that Jeremy actually heard me play in the trip in Flat Rock. We were in Flat Rock, North Carolina, which was not too far away from a place that I went to camp as a kid. So I felt it was a little bit nostalgic with that. But I wrote this with this idea of something that I love so much, but there's just too many of them, John. There's too many of them. And I wrote this with my buddy, one of my favorite people in town, and one of my first friends in town when I moved here to Nashville about 9 years ago. His name's Steve O'Brien. One song that you've heard of his is one that he wrote for a little duo called Brooks and Dunn. And he wrote, "Rock My World, Little Country Girl." That's Steve O'Brien, one of his songs. But I released this one under the name EDBH, which is my new deal that I'll explain about. The beach is my happy place, it is my paradise. That's why it kills me to know that there's so much sand I'll never try. Ain't been to Malibu, Zuma, Laguna, St. Simon, or Gold Rock. That's where the Goonies was shot. Hilton Head, Myrtle, South Padre Island. How can I sleep at night when there's too many beaches, not enough time? I'd hit up everyone under the sun, but I'm just one guy with one life, and this world's too wide. Too many beaches, not enough time. Not enough time. I've never stamped my passport in Puerto Vallarta, Bermuda, Ibiza, or Copacabana, French Riviera, Playa del Carmen. Can't do them all, but I'm trying. There's too many beaches, not enough time. I'd hit up everyone under the sun, but I'm just one guy with one life, and this world's too wide. Too many beaches, not enough time. Not enough time. Little Paul Simon solo for you. Ain't been to Waikiki, no, not me. Ain't been to Fiji, but that'd be sweet. Bora Bora, man, I never partied in Tahiti or St. Martin. There's too many beaches, not enough time. Hit up everyone under the sun, but I'm just one guy with one life, and this world's too wide. Too many beaches, not enough time. Oh, there's too many beaches, not enough time.
fantastic,
Cheers.
fantastic. I got to tell you, we missed you in songwriters. And I know I told you that when we were down there because I was looking all over the place. So I had to text you. But amazing. And really, thank you for bringing your sound and sounding so great through the air. It's almost like we're sitting out back listening to you. So that was awesome.
Man, thank you. And I missed being there as well. It hurt me to not be there. I think I mentioned it to you. I got a call a couple months earlier, like 3 months earlier, from an amazing producer that I've been working with a lot, named David Mescon. Everybody calls him Messi around here, and he does work with a lot of big artists, and I've been lucky to work with him over the last year plus. And he just had a baby, so he's a new dad. And he usually goes, but he wasn't going. And he called me and said, "Hey, man, I'm not going. Would you like to work this week? Work that week on a bunch of songs." So we recorded a lot of music, and So my liver is in better shape than it would have been, and I got some productive work done as well. But I missed you guys.
We definitely missed you, and there was still the spark, but it wasn't the John Allen Miller spark. How about that?
Hey, I appreciate you, man. Next year, I'll be there.
100%. Jeremy's going to have to come down now, and
love it.
He's going to have his own book of business, aren't you, Jeremy?
Hopefully. No. Let me back up. I'm strictly retired. I do it because I love it, not because I want a job. If it becomes a job, I probably will quit doing it.
Well, you're good. The one guarantee you're going to have to make is that you're gonna bring your guitar, and you're going to bring your music, and even if we have to sit in the lobby at midnight and just strum it out, that's what the goal is, right?
Yeah. But see, I played guitar also. I started to go grab mine. I think my son may have it out of tune. I was going to play some backup for you there.
Gosh, hey, man.
Nice.
But see, I remember when you sang that song at CreatiVets, and I wanted to sing it just now, but I remember you named so many beaches. I ain't even heard of half of them.
There's too many of them.
I know. Not enough time to cover them. But the key thing is, so my focus in art here in my hometown is chainsaw carving. But ironically, before I crank that saw up, the first thing I do is throw in some ear pods or earbuds, whatever they call them, and I turn on some music.
Yeah.
It's food for the soul, and I'm definitely going to add just anything I can find with John Allen Miller on it and throw it on my playlist.
Absolutely. So a friend of yours just chimed in there, John, and friend of mine, dear friend. I stepped on her foot many years back. Key West. Yeah, Liz is out there.
What's up, Liz? Hey.
So that's the queen of YOLO Fest right there. We got King Parker and Queen Liz doing the YOLO Fest thing out there. Yeah, so it's really cool to be able to draw everybody together. The people that were there at the songwriting event that you were part of, Jeremy, how many people were there? And then I want you to kind of talk a little bit about what the connection was with the wives too.
So I think roughly there were, let's see, 8 or I think there were 10 veterans there altogether.
Awesome.
Now, altogether, I think it was 8 families total. And I mean, we all go through pretty much the same thing. The veterans normally split up into their own group and then the spouse in their group. And we start bumping heads and putting pen to paper, and the artist comes out and says, "Hey guys, what y'all think about this?" And then we're all in there just throwing stuff back and forth. It's really not. I don't think of it as a songwriting process rather than more of just a conversation.
Yeah. Well, what's funny, Jeremy, is you say that, and you're right. And what's crazy is that's exactly how most songwriting sessions in Nashville are. You know, sure, you just like we ended up turning it into music, but typically in songwriting sessions, just like that, you just talk, and then you remember when we were doing those verses, we were literally just talking about stuff, and then you remember you'd say something, and sometimes it'd just be, that's it, that's it, and then you just take that whatever you said and maybe a tiny tweakage of it to make it rhyme or whatever. But sometimes sometimes you're just saying things like, that's exactly what needs to be right in that verse, as is how you said it. And it was just a conversation,
Yeah, well, that's how our whole chorus, it starts out. We were talking about fishing for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're like, well, how about that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. It was really cool, and it was just a conversation where we went round and round, and I appreciated, Jeremy, how you talked about your passion now being carving, and like you said, sure, you've turned it into a business, but at the same time it's what you turned to because you loved it, and you still do. And I really appreciated that as it's that you gotta have something, especially we get back into, I guess, normal life or whatever we want to call it over here. you were lucky to have that outlet, and it's very like important to you, and I'm so glad you have that.
Yeah, and not everybody gets that, and so I do a lot of little stuff here and there, but all of my big pieces, I'm gonna say 95% of all my big stuff has been given to charity. I think you showed a picture of the eagle earlier on Facebook.
I did.
Spread that went to When Life Sucks for $5,100. That's about the veteran, the 22, and they helped out with veteran suicide. But and that's what I posted also from this Johnny and Friends event. I don't know if you got at John Allen, if you got to meet Jeff Morris when we were there. He was an older gentleman. He wasn't in any of the songwriter sessions.
Yes.
Meet him.
Yeah.
So he's the president of Wild Ops, and that's the logo behind me. So I helped him this year. 25% of anything I make on anything is going straight to them.
Nice.
Because I've been involved with it and I know what they do. It's good stuff.
Is that the eagle? Is that the eagle you're talking about?
That is it, and it looks really huge, but it's actually life size to scale. Eagles can female can get 6.5 to 7 feet wide.
And so I'm going to ask you this, and I'm going to have John play another song. But the growth and the change at the event when you put pen to paper, and then you heard the song. What happened? What happened with everybody that was there? Maybe their first or second time.
They don't really know what to expect out of it, I think, or they don't really understand the process. But once pen starts going to paper, we start walking through it. And I remember the guy that was in John's group. We had a female veteran and then a Marine that was in ours. And the first time John played it through, just the look on his face. He was like, "Wow." It's a big relief. It gives him something, gives me something that we can look back at and see where we were here. We were at this point in our lives here. And then if you go write another song or something, co-write another song, you can see growth. Or you may see the opposite. It just is. It's a story of where you're at then and there.
So do you see growth, and what's it feel like for you to feel that growth event after event? I know you're building upon you've gone 3 times now, so you're building on that. What's it make you feel like, and what do you feel they're getting out of it as you're sitting there and you kind of know? Hey, this is my 3rd time going. Wait until you come back the next time.
Yeah, well, as facilitating, I've done that twice. My goal is for them to see that I'm not where I used to be, because I'll give examples and I tell everybody where I was when I first got out, or where I was at. What it looked like for me when I was in, and you can either choose to lay, just like the thing behind me says, "Get free or die." You can choose to lay in that self-pity and wallow in it, or you can pick it up and try to move forward.
Yep, absolutely.
But that's a conscious decision everybody's got to make and decide on for themselves. But that can apply with many things in life. There again, the songwriters help us out. It's just another tool to gauge where we're at.
Tool in the tool bag, isn't it?
Yep.
That's crazy. And I know that John's got a couple crazy songs left to play yet tonight. So why don't you fire up that guitar and let us hear another crazy song from John?
Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. What do I got? I'm gonna play. I just went to it is CMA Fest in here in Nashville, and what's cool is on Music Row, which is where all the offices are, where we write songs and the record labels. I just got back from a get together that my bank Truist threw, and it was they do this big hot dog cook off every CMA Fest on the Thursday of CMA Fest. And I ran into my buddy Josh Gallagher, who does some awesome songs related to our military and veterans. And I actually wrote this song with Josh, and it was great to see him. He's a new dad, and It's great to catch up. So you guys out there listening, look up Josh Gallagher. He's an awesome dude. But here we go. I'm a straight lace in my ways, laid back kind of guy. I don't cut loose much, man, I do enjoy the simple things in life. Kind of try to keep my things in line. So about 99% of the time, I make it to church on Sundays, 'cause I don't go out on Saturday nights. I never call in sick and then just go fishing, 'cause blue skies -5s. I drink black coffee, not lattes. And I don't put oranges in my brew. Said maybe once in a blue moon. Only once in a blue moon. I can get crazy and just maybe grow out hair or two, but I don't make it a habit, just every now and then, that's it. Honestly, I almost always make it to church on Sundays, 'cause I don't go out on Saturday nights. I never call in sick and then just go fishing, 'cause blue skies -5s. I drink black coffee, not lattes. Now I don't put oranges in my brew. Said maybe once in a blue moon. Oh, once in a blue moon. A lot of people always ask me, so John, is the guy in this song, does he actually rarely do those things, or does he do those things all the time? This next part of the song is what we call the bridge of the song. It kind of gives you a little bit of an idea with the body language and tones. Man, I swear I ain't lying. Almost 99.9% of the time, I make it to church on Sundays, 'cause I don't go out on Saturday nights. I never call in sick and then just go fishing, 'cause the blue skies -5s. I drink black coffee, not lattes. Now I'm putting oranges in my brew. Said maybe once. He said maybe once. He said maybe once. Once in a blue moon. Oh, once in a blue moon.
Very cool, very cool. So you've actually ventured out and done yourself a little different business driver, haven't you there, John?
Yeah, so gosh, a couple years ago, this whole idea came about, and I just kind of got inspired. It was during 2020, and I had spent, we talked about this, Jeremy, a little bit during our writing session. You know, I'd gone 4 or 5 years plus of just like my head was down, like, you know, like they say, and sometimes people say this is like a good thing, you know, like blinders on, head down, just full steam ahead, doing what I was doing, you know, tackling this songwriting thing here in Nashville. And, you know, a lot of amazing things happened through that. But one of the not amazing things about that was, you know, literally was just my focus from the second I woke up to the second I went to sleep, and would write, you know, have 2 to 3 writing sessions a day. And it's not a bad thing, but at the end of the day, like literally that's a, you know, just, I wasn't focused on a lot of the other things that are important in life. And COVID, you know, 2020, one of the byproducts of that was positive was it kind of slowed me down a little bit. And I started doing things like taking a walk, going on trips, you know, enjoying the outdoors. And this kind of idea of EDBH, which stands for Eat, Drink, Be Happy. I'm wearing a hat right now. Got a koozie right here. It's a pool all summer koozie. But that's a new song that I just put out on Friday. But this idea of Eat, Drink, Be Happy. And then it hit me, the acronym. I was like, EDBH. So I decided to launch this thing, and I dreamed it up, and now it's out there. And I'm releasing a song every 4 weeks under the name EDBH. And as you can see on the website there, thank you for putting that up at edbh.co. There's a lot of merchandise. Some is song related. Some, like this hat, is just an EDBH hat. And but the idea is just to celebrate living life to the fullest. And you only get so many trips around the sun, and the idea is while we're here to enjoy it and spend it with the people you care about and doing things that you love. And there's no I can't think of any reason to not do those things. So that's what the brand's all about. And actually, really, a lot of it is about, when I say celebrate living life to the fullest, it's about hearing other people's stories that do that in hopes of inspiring people. And then for myself, I want to challenge myself to do just that. If you start a thing called EDBH that celebrates that, you better do your darndest to do that thing, so it's challenging myself, and I'm just inviting everybody on board to kind of come along the ride. And when you see, you'll notice on the EDBH releases at the beginning of every song, you'll hear EDBH, and I encourage everybody to hop on board and get that thing rolling. So when you see a friend that you want to make sure that he's living his life or her life to the fullest, just give him a good EDBH. And that I'm hoping that turns into the calling card of just, go do your thing, enjoy your life, be with the people you care about, and enjoy it.
Well, the way you describe that, and the fact that you're hooking up with CreatiVets and doing things like that, Jeremy, it's got to make you feel pretty good when the guy that's helping you over Memorial Day weekend is more about you guys than about himself, isn't it?
Yeah, see, Memorial Day is actually one of the key events. I like to throw a lot of them, as we just think of the days where we're supposed to go buy beer, grill dogs, have burgers. And I don't know if I told John, I told a couple people there, I said, I bet people will call me today and thank me for my service. I'm not dead. And it's Memorial Day. I have a day that's called Veterans Day, but a lot of people don't understand it, and I love to educate them on it. But and even me, if I was here back home and not at a Johnny and Friends event or doing something, we would still probably be cooking out or doing something, because the family gets off. Everybody's at one location, and I think it's very admirable for John to give up his time, even miss the wedding, because I'm sure it would have been very memorable also with him crashing.
Yeah. It's one of those things where I just I didn't want to miss the chance to hang with you guys, because I'm telling you, it was just like being in that room was just awesome. Like I loved every second of it, and I'd do it again next weekend. So. I just I thank you, brother, man. It was cool, and we hit it off, and our group was cool, man. We had a great group. Everybody involved was awesome, and
the whole purpose of me, I guess, it ain't the whole purpose of me being there, but I still go and participate in it just to be that icebreaker. Because I remember my first songwriting session, I was like, "Nope, you're not getting nothing out of me. We ain't talking." And then I had some annoying guy like me there, that I am now. Getting it out of me. It started the conversation. Like we said, that's what it takes, is the conversation. But you, John, like I said, you sung, you about got me in trouble with one of the songs you sang, because my wife was like, "How do you know him?" I was like, whoa, hang on, no. It's not like that.
John probably knows that.
10 years ago, I was in Korea.
I made Jeremy the hero.
I love it.
Yeah, my wife was like, "How do you know him? You were in Korea then. What?" You were with me.
That's great. She's like, "This is not lining up."
Well, I've got to sign off the air with WKDW Radio. It was nice having you all on the air. Please join us next week for Songwriter Souls, and the podcast will continue on Facebook. Real Talk, not Real Talk. That's my other show. How about that? So we're Songwriter Souls on Facebook right now, and you can join us anytime, and you can share this video. Please do so. So thanks for your time. Back to the guys. So we've got, about 7, 8 minutes left on our traditional podcast length, 7:30. But John, you've come a long way, bro. You've been out there. You've been on the streets of Key West with me years ago, and what's really cool is to watch. And listen to Jeremy and see the growth and listen to the growth and watch the friendships that have developed, because really it's songwriters and it's songwriters events. And that's, to me, that's like this cool network of people and music pulling people together. And I got to tell you, whether you're having a sad moment or you're one of your best days, there's always music around it, and it's soothing the savage beast in us sometimes, and which is a good thing, and it's also taking us to places we've never been mentally. That the fact that you can go to a songwriters event as a veteran and capture those moments and be there with fellow servicemen and women and spouses. Can't forget them, because it's a vital part of being perfect, as Jeremy says. And nobody is perfect. We all have our struggles out there. So I'm so proud to have been part of songwriters, and then having John as my friend on top of that, learning what he was doing with you guys with CreatiVets and really helping each other through really not easy times. I mean, I'm not talking now, I'm talking then, before and during and after, and it's just making life move forward and living each day to its fullest, like John said earlier. And Jeremy, do you want to add anything in here real quick?
I consider this my ministry. I can reach out to veterans and help them heal from it, but it also feeds my soul. Music is food for the soul, and also for our songwriters. John Allen Miller, I met, of course, each songwriter session I've usually had a different songwriter, and my hopes is to give you something also to be able to take away so you can relate back, and maybe it'll lead you to a number one.
For sure, man. Hey, you sure did, brother. Yeah, thank you.
I'd like to thank you for your time, your commitment, your sacrifice that you made to come and hang with our rough bunch.
Man, thank you for all you've done and all you still do, man. I mean, like, honestly, I can't wait. I know we're going to do some things in the future.
I'm sure we'll cross paths.
Absolutely. So, John, can you give us one of your exciting songs? We got the strum-alongs. I don't know. Do you think our crowd could handle the beer song?
Oh, okay. Well, I could do the yeah. So listen, we could do that. We could do that, or if you wanted something a little up tempo, I got you too.
All right, let's do some up tempo. What do you think? What do you think, Jeremy?
Whatever. I ain't heard anything I didn't like yet.
So I actually released this song. It was the first EDBH song that I put out, and I think of this friend of mine named Michael Strober that passed within the last year and a half or so, and he was an awesome friend, and he was the father of one of my friends from high school, and we got to know each other in my late 20s, and he just lived life to the fullest. And I'd run into him out at the bars, and I'd be like, oh my goodness, I got to put my party pants on because Michael Strober is here. And this is a guy who's, probably in his 70s at the time. And he really did the thing. But I think of him with this. I'm living life, chasing highs, doing things that feel all right. I ain't got no fear of missing out because I'm always in and I'm always down. We all got our priorities, but the good times mean the most to me. If you got a pulse and your heart's still beating, come on, y'all, go drink. Fiesta like there's no mañana, singing la 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 mama, drinking tequila with la la lima. Tonight, we're spending mucho dinero, dancing on the bar like we just don't care. Tomorrow, we could be gone, just don't you wanna fiesta like there's no mañana, like there's no mañana. Seriously, man, what you gotta do that's more important than friends and booze? It's all the times you won't remember, like the random retreat weekend benders that mean the most. Come on, bros, don't you know you're never too old to fiesta like there's no mañana, singing la 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 mama, drinking tequila with la la lima. Tonight, we're spending mucho dinero, dancing on the bar like we just don't care. Tomorrow, we could be gone, just don't you wanna fiesta like there's no mañana, like there's no mañana. So the bridge of this song, I keep it really simple. And for you out there listening that aren't fluent in Spanish like myself, the bridge is just one word. And we sing it, it's a sing-along part, and it means party in Spanish. It's fiesta. It goes like this. Fiesta, fiesta, come on now. Fiesta, come on now. Fiesta, loud and long one. Fiesta, fiesta, chorus. Fiesta like no mañana, singing la 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 la, drinking tequila with la la lima. Tonight, we spend mucho dinero, dancing on the bar like we just don't care. Tomorrow, we could be gone, just don't you wanna fiesta like there's no mañana. Everybody, fiesta,
Fiesta, nice. Fantastic. Please, everybody out there, share this video, share this information with everybody. If you find a veteran out there, please give them a high five, give them some knuckles, tell them thank you for their time and support, and share the video because, believe it or not, Jeremy, your group is doing a great job. Please promote them real quick one more time because these are the type of groups veterans need and they need to get a hold of. Go ahead.
All right, so it's Johnny and Friends. What we took part in was the Warrior Getaway. There's also for combat veterans, wildops.org, johnnyandfriends.org also. And also CreatiVets also has programs that help veterans. If you just want to delve off into art and work one-on-one maybe with a songwriter or learn to play the guitar, and I'm sure they have many other things. But I believe it's creativevets.org also. Yep. Those are my new favorite top three.
Nice. Love it. And John, go ahead and hit your website and your information up one more time, buddy.
John, thanks for having us. It was awesome. Jeremy, thank you for all you do, man. And look forward to keeping in touch. My name's John Allen Miller. find me at edbh.co. That's edbh.co. There's all the links up there to the new EDBH songs are up there, and I appreciate you guys checking them out, listening to the new music.
Well, I want to thank each one of you for being part of show number 3. Believe it or not,
Yeah.
it's crazy that it's actually come to fruition. It's actually moving the right way. Liz and Parker were big pushers of this and big supporters, and Liz has been. I'll just say she's been singing along as you were singing, John. So she's they're great people, and
They're the best. Yeah,
we're gonna do one thing for her real quick, and I know she's gonna love it. On a count of 3, we're gonna say YOLO.
Oh,
All right.
yes.
So you ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. YOLO! So we got to show some Liz and love Parker. We got to show them some love down there. So thanks you guys for listening in. This is John Rawlings with I want to say my other show so bad it's not funny, and she says woohoo. This is John Rawlings with Songwriters Souls, and thank you guys so much for listening in, and thank you guys so much for being part of the show. And I'll talk to you guys soon.
Thank you.
Good to see you guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
See you.